Welcome to Real Talk on healthy friendships. It is Sunday, February 20th, and basically today I would like to review um, what are healthy friendships, basically. It's probably going to be about a 20-minute, 30-minute, or 45-minute kind of talk about healthy friendships. So, welcome. Healthy friendships. So what is a friendship? So it's basically somebody who has a major impact on your life, personally, professionally. You have a connection with them. You actually um, trust them. There's a lot of characteristics and personality traits that come with friendship. The difference is, the interesting thing is that depending on who you are, you may have friends from childhood all the way to adulthood, or you may meet new people during adulthood. So there's different types of friendships that you develop throughout your life. And the reality is that some friendships last and some don't. One thing I usually mention to my patients and people that I talk to is that friendships may be for a purpose and a time period only. So, for instance, I mean, there's a saying that people come into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. The reality is that people can change. Your relationship with people can change over time. It can evolve. It can, as you grow as an individual. So, at one point, if you were friends with someone when you were a little child playing in the sandbox, and then you became older and an adult and you moved and your lives took a different trajectory, it could mean that your friendship, it no longer is the same. You still would cherish that person because they meant something to you during your childhood. So they still served a purpose in your life and they had a role they played. So, one important factor in maintaining healthy friendships is making sure that we identify, um, give people the right role in your life. For instance, some people may be a best friend for a while and then you no longer have that same friendship with them. So you're so used to calling them best friend, but the reality is you're not best friends anymore. You may just be social friends. So the different categories are, and this again is my professional opinion and based off of research, but some of the categories are best friend, obviously, right? Family, so those are friends that are so close that they become like siblings, they become like family. Then there's close friends that, you do things with them and their family and stuff, maybe holidays, but they're not the best friend. And then there's social friends, and that is friends that you hang out with. You either go shopping with them or you go out to eat dinner, you hang out with them socially, but you don't share your personal information with them. And that's a lot of us have a lot of social friends, the people we could just hang out with. Now, what's the characteristic of a healthy friendship? So there are several characteristics. One major one is having mutual respect. And that means that each person values who the other person is without trying to change them. And they understand the other person's boundaries. So that's the first characteristic, mutual respect. The second is trust. So now we're talking about the best friend or the close friends. You have to be able to trust them. So trust each other and give each other the benefit of the doubt, even if like something happens or you hear somebody comes and tells you that they said something or did something. You trust them so much that you give them the benefit of the doubt until you can actually find out what happened. The third characteristic of a healthy friendship is honesty. So honesty builds the strength of a relationship and should be a part of the foundation, even when it may be something that the person doesn't want to hear. Like your friend, a true friend will tell you the truth, even if you don't want to hear it. Um, the fourth characteristic is compromise. Each person should be able to get their way. And so, like it shouldn't feel one sided. And a lot of times we have friendships that we hold on to too long that actually um, we shouldn't be friends with them anymore, because the reality is it's one-sided. We do more for them than they do for us. And the reality is that a true friendship should be both people should be receiving something from the friendship, or even feeling like they have a voice in that relationship. For instance, like if you go out to eat with them on a regular basis, are you always going out to eat where they want to go out to eat? Or do they take into account what you want to do and what you want to eat too? So keep that in mind, because a friendship should be a two-way street, not just one way. That's number 5 characteristic is individuality. That each person allows the other person to be who they are. If you're quirky, then you're quirky. If you're introvert, then you're introvert. If you are an emotional person and you like to cry a lot, especially when you're watching movies like me, then your friend would accept you that way. They wouldn't try to change you. And then, for instance, I don't know if you've ever seen Why Did I Get Married movie by Tyler Perry, um, and it's about a friendship, a group of women who are friends and their husbands, and there's one of them named Angela, and she's always in conflict and yelling and like arguing, and so but they in that friendship they accept her for who she is, and they just try to help her be kind of like calm down sometimes or whatever. But the reality is they don't try to change who she is. They accept her for who she is, and they're supportive on the things that you want to do. So a friend is accepting of your individuality and supporting of the things you want to do, even if all of a sudden you say, hey, I want to change careers and I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start my own business. They would be supportive to you. And so that's the type of friends we need in our lives. So that's number 4. Actually, number 5, sorry. Number 6 is good communication. That's another sign of a healthy friendship, that you can talk to each other open and honestly. And for instance, even if there is a miscommunication or there's like questions that you may have, you're able to sort it out with each other and talk it through and resolve it without, with minimal conflict. And even if you have conflict, you get upset with each other, you still can, you know, get back together and still talk it through and move on and keep maintain your relationship. Because why? Because number 1 characteristic is mutual respect. So anything based off of respect will always be healthy and be able to resolve problems or any conflict that arises. Number 6 is number 7, anger control. So in a friendship, um, in a healthy friendship, you should be able to de-escalate a situation, because your friendship means more than whatever you're angry about. So you would be able to manage it. A friend can manage it themselves, or can hear you say, listen, you sound very angry. Let's just talk about this later. Um, the the next characteristic is fighting fair. This number 8. Um, Arguments will rise. People in any kind of relationship will have arguments, friendships, family, intimate relationship. And so you have to, in a healthy friendship, you have to do what's called fighting fair. It's the same thing in an intimate relationship too. Fighting fair means that you don't hit below the belt. You don't insult the person to the point where you are degrading them or being verbally or emotionally abusive. You just fight fair. So you when you argue, you just express your emotions and what you're upset about, or argue your point, but you don't try to make people feel worse than they do already by the argument. The next characteristic is that you're in your friendship, you're able to problem solve together and alone to maintain the friendship, and not allow the problem to destroy the friendship. The next characteristic is understanding. Being understanding, like let's say um, you are in a friendship for a long time, and then your friend decides that they want to go back to college and they're so busy so they can't come and hang out with you as much because they're really busy. This happened to me when I went back to school. And the reality is that a healthy friendship with someone, that friend would understand that you're busy and you have things going on, so they would be supportive of you, and matter of fact they would be patient and wait until you have time to spend with them. Um, the next characteristic is self confidence, and basically that in the friendship, that each person shows their comfortability in themselves. So they're confident in themselves, they're confident in the friendship. So nothing outside of that, because there's a lot of gossipy people in the world, and especially if they see people too close to each other or too friendly, and if they're jealous, or if there's so many reasons why they would instigate problems between friends. But the important thing is, when you have self-confidence in yourself and in your friendship, then if you have confidence in your friendship, you will be comfortable enough to not listen to the opinions of others and actually talk to your friend if you have a question, or if you have a doubt or a problem that you want to discuss. The last is a characteristic of a healthy friendship is you being a role model to each other. What that means is, not only do you respect each other and your the things you're doing in your life, you also oh, you also sorry about that. I was distracted for a second. But you also inspire each other, not just respect each other. You also inspire each other to accomplish goals, to spend time with family, to um, you know, make decisions that's best for you, for each of you, and that's how you're a role model to each other. You inspire each other, you motivate each other, you support each other, you encourage each other, and you respect each other. And that's what a healthy friendship looks like when it comes to what characteristics. And I can get into unhealthy friendship characteristics. I will tell you what they are, but I don't want to spend too much time on it because we all know what they look like. We all have had very unsuccessful friendships. I know I have. I've had people who I thought I could trust, and then they backstab me, front stab me. Like they really disappointed me in many ways. But then I've had people in my life who have really stuck it through and shown me like who they really are. And you really know how much of a friend somebody is when you're really down and out and you're struggling. It could be financially, it could be physically, health wise, but somebody really cares about you when they don't leave your side and they actually are still supportive and not judgmental because of whatever you got going on. So, but some of the correct characteristics, there are there's seven characteristics in an unhealthy friendship. And so this is not surprising to you, but number one is control. The other person wants to have control of the relationship, control over what you do, what you don't do, what you eat, like they're trying to have control. So it's more of a one-sided relationship. It's not healthy at all. And if you have people like that, I mean, sometimes it's hard to break free from friendships because a sense of loyalty, or like there may be some ties to family or to other friends, and so sometimes it's difficult. But what you can do is you can create boundaries, um, strict boundaries, and always remember, choose you. So what I mean by that is, ask yourself, do I really want to do this, whatever they're asking you to do, or do I really want to go there, or do I really want to talk to this person? Reflect on what you really want and then go from there. It will minimize how much damage the unhealthy friendship does. Number two is hostility. So the other person, the unhealthy friendship, the other person is constantly picking a fight, antagonizing, could even be passive aggressive with you, constantly judging or criticizing you. Um, Again, it's about control, so they want to make you feel less than them. The third characteristic of an unhealthy friendship is dishonesty. So you catch them in lies constantly. It could be small lies, it could be big lies. Um, but either way, um, dishonesty. They can even take something of yours without even asking. Let's say they're over your house and they take a shirt or something without you even asking. Number fourth characteristic is disrespect. So, and sometimes it's indirect or direct disrespect. So, one way to be the unhealthy friendship can be disrespectful is if they're dismissive to your opinions and ideas and interests. To if they use humor to degrade you and embarrass you in front of groups of other people. I mean, there's many ways forms of disrespect in a friendship, but either way, it's not healthy. The next characteristic is dependence. Is they're clingy. So an unhealthy friendship can be also somebody who is very clingy, very dependent, don't want to do anything without you. They don't want to like make decisions without you. They always feel pressure you to spend time with them, and it's very, very clingy and unhealthy, and even to the point where the other person can say that they don't want to live without you being in their life as their friend. It's very unhealthy. Another character is intimidation. So they try to control the unhealthy friendship. That person tries to control all aspects of your life by making you feel like afraid or anxious, or like that the decision or the thing you're going to do is wrong. Um, and they may even threaten violence or threaten harm somehow, or threaten to share a secret. I mean, that's definitely intimidation. And then the last characteristic is some form of violence, physical, um, verbal violence. Um, so when you get forced to do something, um, and by them grabbing you, they hit you, they incite fear in you. That's very unhealthy, and it's very abusive. That is like very abusive and not healthy at all to have a friend um, like that. So that's that's the difference between healthy friendship and unhealthy friendship. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask. By the way, this will be uploaded into my YouTube channel tonight after I download it. Um, and it's called Real Talk with Kaisha. So, what are the benefits of having friends? Truthfully, I mean, I know a few women who are loners and they're like, I'm just gonna do things by myself. I don't need friends. It's too much. I just came back from if you were watching me last week, I did last week's live Sunday night in Mexico. And I did travel anxiety. I talked about travel anxiety, but I was there with a group of friends. Well, I knew two women, and then there was about 10 other people that I didn't know, and I was just getting to know there. So why is friendships important? Well, I'm a loner. I can make myself happy. I can hang out with myself, watch a movie, watch a show, but there are actual benefits to having friendships and healthy friendships besides the obvious. Some people can give you access to certain things, or um, can be a listening ear, somebody to vent, like a support person. Besides that, there are benefits for your health, truthfully. When you have friends that you can celebrate good times and that you have support during bad times. And number one, it does prevent isolation and loneliness and feelings of depression and anxiety at times, because you have somebody, a companion who you can trust and lean on when you need them. So, but there are 5 benefits besides what I just said about preventing feelings of depression and anxiety. There's 5 true benefits of having a friendship in your life. So one is it increases your sense of belonging and purpose. You know, it's better to go on a girls trip vacation to an island than to go by yourself. Think about that for a minute. You can laugh, you can joke, you could have somebody to eat with when you're there and just enjoy your time. But it does increase your sense of belonging. Like, it's your own little community. If you think about Why Did I Get Married, group of girls that were friends and how they were so supportive through everything. If you think about Girls Trip and how they went through things too in that movie. Um, and you think about anything like Sex in the City show, and they were friends, 4 women, they were friends through everything. Even one of the women, Samantha, had cancer, and they were very supportive with her. Or one of the other women who was trying to have a baby, and they were supportive in her deciding to adopt, and then finally she had a baby. But my point is that throughout life, there's always things happening to us that can cause us anxiety, depression, because of bad things that happen, or traumatic experiences, or losses that we have, or unresolved or unaddressed childhood issues that we've never really dealt with. So having a group of people, or even there's no set number of how many friends you should have. What's more important is the quality of friendship than the number. And keep that in mind, because the younger generation today, they actually say, "Oh, that's my friend, that's my friend, that's my friend, that's my friend." But the reality is that all those individuals they're calling friends may not be close friends. They're probably um, like they call it an associate, or a social friend, or a school friend, or a work friend. Like, because you have people that you're friends with at your job, but when you leave that job, you're no longer friends with them. And that's the reality. So it's for a purpose, the friendship. But it does increase your sense of belonging and purpose. The second benefit to having a friendship is it boosts your happiness and reduce your stress. Yeah. During COVID, it was really rough. The transition of being out in the world and socializing, going out to eat and doing things, constantly go to movies. Um, when COVID first happened, we were all locked down, and it was very hard for people to not socialize and to not feel isolated. But, some friends actually were very creative in doing things like Zoom happy hour, or I mean, I know I did with my friends, we did karaoke. We did a Zoom karaoke night. It was very funny. Yes, my friend and me, we recorded it too. Nope, I'm not posting that anywhere. Absolutely not. In case you guys were thinking it. Um, but so it can boost your happiness and reduce your stress having friends. The third benefit is it improves your self-confidence and self-worth, because you feel like people care about you, and they care about your best interest and what you want and your hobbies and your goals in your life. So it makes you feel it's empowering to have that, and a benefit. The fourth benefit to having friends is it can help you cope with any traumas or life changes like divorce, a serious physical illness. a job loss, or a death of a loved one. You don't have to go through it by yourself when you have friends. The last benefit is having friends encourages you to change or avoid unhealthy lifestyle habits such as excessive drinking or not exercising or not eating healthy or not sleeping right. Like they're a positive influence in it. They can be. If it's a healthy friendship. Now that's the question. And I think that that's what I want you guys to really look at is looking in your life, the people that you have in your life, identifying them, okay, these are my friends, but are they? And asking, why are they my friends? And do they fit those healthy characteristics that I just discussed in the beginning? Um, because it does play a significant role in your decision making and your overall health and well being, whether or not you have a healthy friendship. It's not just healthy relationships with your family or a healthy relationship with your intimate partner. It's also healthy friendships, because if you don't have that and they are unhealthy, it can influence you in ways that you don't realize sometimes. So I think you should look at and reflect on your relationships and decide whether they are healthy or not, and what role do they play in your life, and what role do you play in their life, truthfully, because remember, it's a two-way street. You can't expect your friends to be a certain way with you and you're not that way with them. So be careful and mindful to not have high expectations of others, but then you don't meet them either. um, Now it's hard to, as you become older, an older adult, um, it's hard to maintain friendships from years ago. It is possible. I mean, I have a couple of friendships that I've had for 30 plus years, but um, but things get in the way, and usually friendships and socializing takes a back seat to other priorities in your life, like work, children, your own family, your partner, um, in your relationship. So, I mean, I think that there are definitely several things um, that change. And actually, there's a list of 18 ways friendships change as you get older. Um, and so, like I'm gonna go through half of them. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but basically, one is you won't get to see your friends as much, and it's true, because if you get married or you have kids, and then your friend doesn't have kids and they're not married, it's different. You're not able to spend as much time with each other. Um, and so, or if you get a very rigorous job that keeps you busy and you work 12-hour shifts while while your friends don't, they have an 8-hour job, or they only work 3 days a week, or they work for themselves. So there's a lot of variables that actually influence whether friendships are able to last or not. Um, Another is that as you get older, you stop relying on friends to have a good time. Like you start being self-reliant, um and it's kind of like, how when you're little you have to use your imagination and play by yourself sometimes. Well, as you get older, that happens again, but as an adult. I'm not saying you play with Barbies and stuff like you did when you or GI Joes when you were little, but it is similar that you learn to spend time with yourself and make yourself happy. But another major reason why friendships change over time is your interests change. You know, I think about the fact that I grew up, um, very poor and in a specific neighborhood that we were playing outside, running around in the park and stuff. And then as I got older, I don't live in that neighborhood anymore, and I live in a whole different place as an adult. And I obviously don't play in the park like that either. But your interests change. Like my priority is work and mental health and wellness, and that's why I started these TikTok lives. Um, and some people wouldn't, their interests are not like in alignment with mine. And that's fine. Interests do change. People do change. People evolve. And it doesn't minimize the important role they played in your life when you were close friends, because they did play an important role. It just means that now they don't play that role. Um, and then so another major things is you feeling like you're forcing the relationship because things had changed from childhood to adulthood. You may feel like almost like you're making the person want to stay friends with you. Like every time you invite them to do something, they're like, "Well, I don't know," and it feels like you're forcing them, but that's not the case. It's just maybe one person needs to be honest about whether or not they want to hang out or be friends or not anymore. Um, the other thing that is like environmental is that maybe you move. Somebody moves 3,000 miles away, and then, it's hard to maintain long distance friendships. I mean, you can visit them occasionally, you can visit each other occasionally, like on vacation, but it's hard to stay close when you live that far away. And especially if it's different time zone, it's not in driving distance, it's harder to maintain those friendships. Um, Another is now we have so much access to technology and social media, cell phones, everything, that sometimes people rely on them so much that it really diminishes the quality of the friendships that you have, because you only start communicating through social media, which is not good, because then there's this impersonal um, communication that occurs in social media and technology that doesn't exist when you actually talk to a person on the phone or see them in person. So relying on technology and social media is not the best way. I mean, I know with COVID we didn't have a choice. We had to rely on those things, and we really had to be very creative. But for instance, sending messages through Facebook Messenger is not as helpful or personal as like videoing with the person, because then you see the person and you can talk to them and laugh, and it's much more personal. So, during the time that COVID has been around for the last 2 years, we've had to get creative on how we maintain friendships, how we create new friendships, how we maintain our relationships, and how, truthfully, how we maintain our sanity and not be depressed or anxious or bored out of our minds being stuck at home. So, so friendships do change over time. So, what can be done if you feel like you need new friends? If you don't, you feel like that, okay, you have your friends that you've been with for a while, but you want to be around somebody who has similar interests. There would be there would be I'm sorry. There would be times when you may want to do things and your long-term friend is not interested. So you might want to find, so how what are some ways you can meet new friends? Obviously, with the technology in the world today, that is one way. Through technology, there are apps that exist for you to meet people just for platonic friendships, not for dating. Like Bumble has a BFF side that people don't really realize is a really, really good um, is a really good part of the app. And I actually met a couple of new women that way, and they were amazing, very inspiring, and we had similar interests and similar passions in life and hobbies. So, I mean, there are ways technologically that you can connect with people on these new apps. Be careful, is what I would say, when you're doing that. Or you can meet people through to Facebook or Instagram. Just make sure that they are real people, because unfortunately the world we live in, people create fake pages all the time and pretend to be people they're not. So be careful with that. But there are there are 5 ways that you can make new friends and nurture existing relationships. Number one, stay in touch with people with whom you've worked with or taken classes with, even maybe that you've met at the gym. Um, so, keep in touch with them. Number two, reconnect with old friends that you haven't talked to in a while. Believe it or not, you can lose touch with somebody for like 15 years and reconnect with them and then realize, wow, we have more in common. I didn't think we had anything in common and we lost touch all this time, but we do have things in common. The third way to meet new people, new friends, new people is reach out to people you've enjoyed chatting with at social gatherings. Um, Now, remember that we haven't had too many social gatherings. I mean, things have opened up again, but it's still not as 100% like it was before COVID. So, I mean, it could be somebody you admired that you took a class online with or something and you enjoyed the conversation, or you did a networking event. I mean, people have done networking things online, or like paint, sip and paint and sip or whatever online, and or they're doing them in person again. But so just reach out to people you've enjoyed chatting with. The fourth way is introduce yourself to neighbors or introduce yourself to new people, point blank. If you go to Starbucks every day to get coffee, why not say hi to somebody while you're there waiting for your coffee? Or at the gas station, you know, there's always opportunity to meet people as long as you're coming into contact with someone. Um, just always be careful and mindful of your safety um, and of your surroundings. Number five, make time to connect with family members, because believe it or not, spending time with your family can lead you to meeting new people too, because they may have friends or they may have friends who have friends. So those are many opportunities that you can take to actually meet people or to re-nurture existing relationships or old relationships, bring them back. So um, another way you could do, I mean, there's connecting with your faith-based community. If you go to church or a synagogue or a religious institution, you can volunteer in your community. You could take a walk if you ride bikes, if you go to the beach, if you, depending where you're at. I know it's cold here now, but I mean, some people still like to walk on the beach even when it's cold. So, depending. Um, okay. So, there are at least 5 ways that you can nurture your current friendships. Number one, be kind to them, obviously. Number two, be a good listener. Number three, open up more. Number four, show that you can be trusted. And number five, make yourself available. So, sometimes you don't want to do certain things, but sometimes you should push yourself. You know what? I don't really want to go. I know I said I would go to dinner with this person, but I'm going to go because I need to get out of the house, and trust me, that will be the best decision ever, and you probably will enjoy yourself. Now, any questions? No? Okay. So, in the end, this is what I would tell you. I want you to reflect on the meaningful friendships in your life, the ones that you had in the past, the ones you currently have, or the ones that you're missing that you would like to have, right? And I want you to think about how important it is to you. How important is it to you whether you have friends in your life or not? Um, I, as I said, research shows that it has these 5 major benefits, including, like physically helping your health. And as we get older, I'm getting older. My birthday's in like less than 4 months. But as we get older, it's important that we reflect on these things and what role do people play in our lives? That way, when we feel like we need something, we have specific individuals to be able to give us and provide to us what we need. Um, like, truthfully, friendships are just good for de-stressing. Truthfully, you can call, you can vent to each other, you can laugh, you could crack jokes, and the longer your friendships are, the more jokes you have to share, the more stories you have to share. I have friends that I've known for 20 plus years, and boy, do we have stories. No, I'm not sharing any right now, but yes. So if a friendship adds more to your plate and feels like a burden, then you need to question that friendship. If the friendship adds value to your life, then you need to hold on to that friendship. Remember that you have a choice what and who you allow to be in your life and how close you allow them to be in your life. So whether they are in your intimate circle or they're on the outer circle and they're just social friends, but you still interact with them um, on a regular basis, or when you go out to eat, or at work, because we have work friends. So I hope this was helpful. Remember that everything that I talked about, friendships are important, but you determine how many friends, what type of friends, and how often, and what you want to share with these individuals and what role they play in your life. You decide all of that, nobody else. So until next time, next week will be a totally different topic next Sunday. And hopefully you got something, gained something from today. Morning. I will be doing my coffee with a message at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Bring your coffee or your tea if you want to join me tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. But thank you and have a good evening. And remember, it is possible to have healthy friendships. Good night.